Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me on today's special episode of Truth in Movies. I'm JayDreamerZ. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm not playing an introduction to this particular one because I want it to be less of a fantastic presentation as it normally is. I normally invite people to get lost in the story. I normally invite people to get lost in the movies and to sort of just set the tone, to make it a fun presentation. But today I want to share more of a serious side with you. Okay. And for those of you who might not know who I am, don't let the backwards hat or my disposition fool you. The things that I talk about here on my YouTube channel, in my books, on my website and other places are of the utmost importance to myself personally, and I believe to the rest of the world. I personally believe that I am fulfilling my own purpose, that I am, but this is my destiny, is to figure out the puzzles of the world and to disclose them to you, to share them with you. And my personality has flavored that, it's painted that in different ways, and sometimes that upsets me because I almost feel like I'm doing you a disservice sometimes by not being as sober-minded and straight-faced and serious as the topic really oftentimes demands. Today's topic is disclosure. The subtopic is kind of aliens and alien life. Are we alone in the universe and things like that. But the topics that I will be discussing with you as we decode this movie are ancient. There is a history that has been hidden from you all. There is a truth that has been forgotten collectively as mankind has suffered amnesia on a worldwide scale. We live during a time right now where many of you are waking up. A small pocket of you, I should say, but many of you within that small pocket are seeing things like you've never seen them before. You're able to discern. You're able to see the different puzzle pieces and put them together. You can sense things. You can feel things. You just have a certain knowing. And so this is really mostly for many of you, but also for the rest. I'm not here to prove anything. We live during an evil time right now, a time where the world lacks love and passion and energy. The world is torn apart, torn against itself. And so people love to debate the truth. They love to argue the truth. They love to jump on one another's teams and develop a sports type of mentality using the truth as a stumbling block to be on the winning team or the losing team. This movie makes the point that the reality behind the epithet of being a truth seeker is a heart condition, not a knowledge accumulation. So, because I believe in balance, because I believe that balance is the truth and a key to finding that truth and balancing what we would consider to be science fiction or fictitious or fanciful or fantastic with things that we would consider to be factual and scientific and evident. I believe that balance holds the key to unlocking the mysteries that have surrounded us like a fog for decades. And I believe that for many of you, that fog is being lifted. So, Disclosure Day, the movie. I'm going to disclose some things to you, and I have on my YouTube channel over the years. I'm going to disclose these things to you as my personal perspective, my research that I have done, and I stand on the shoulders of giants. But I have a gift, and something has allowed me to be able to just see the pieces and put them together and figure things out. So I'm here to share that with you. I don't claim that I have put the puzzle pieces together 100% accurate, but it does feel very accurate to me personally. So I offer it to you. Take whatever resonates with you. Now let's I feel it. I feel these times that we live in. I feel all of you out there. All right. Man. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the movie and decode the movie. Disclosure Day. So we start off as we normally do. The movie will share with you the production company. Oftentimes they will show you which age we live in. Our world goes through two different ages. We have an age when the world is flooded. Okay? We have a water world and a dark world, which is why you see all the little lights all across the world. You live in the dark, spiritually, intellectually, emotionally, energetically. You live in a dark city, in a dark world, in a dark place, which necessitates the luminaries. And so we have the moon coming in, which is a form of a nightlight that we have. The moon is not a rock. The moon is not another planet or a physical body. That moon that you see in the night sky is a light. It is a hologram. It is a projection of a portion of the firmament or the dome that is over our world. Your governments have either been misled to the point of believing in their own lies or misinformation, poor research, amnesia, and they have shared that amnesia, they have shared those lies with you. Your world is covered. You live in a covered terrarium. You live in a covered life world of experiencing. And there are many other covered life worlds out there beyond ours. So some of the concepts that are portrayed in alien movies and stuff are true. Some of the concepts that we're given in academia are true. But like I said, there's balance to these things. This right here, it's going to show you the E.T., right? That's from the movie E.T. When he rides the bicycle across the moon, he's flying through the sky with E.T. The moon is a light. You live during a time of darkness. The time of light, the age of light, which is the calendrical system that the Freemasons go by, is a time whenever geoplasmas erupt from the earth, and the earth provides light and illumination and energy, physical light that leads to intellectual light, that leads to wisdom, that leads to an abundance of empathy and love and the way that the world should be for people like myself that resonate with those times that once were long ago and the times that are coming. The moon is a light. The sun is a light, and they are underneath the very sky, the very dome, the physical dome, which is made out of frozen gas. They are underneath that. Everything is in the earth. You live inside of the earth, and the dome is a part of the earth. And we have an underworld. Now, the movie starts off by showing you some wrestling, some WWF. This is your bread and circuses. This is your distraction. This is your world right now. This WWE pro wrestling, this fake drama, this drama of the whole, as Walt Whitman once said. This is your world. You are all distracted by this. These are your wars. There are no actual wars. There are no different countries. Your world had become a one world, new world order a long time ago. As we left the age of energy and the age of magic and the age of light, and those evil people that banded together to keep that secret, as it's written in the book of Enoch, they pulled the wool over your eyes. They have tricked you, making it seem like there are different countries and we are all at war with one another. But just like George Orwell wrote in his book, 1984, these are all set up. They're all simulated wars. Is there collateral damage? Yes, of course. Because the people that rule the world have no empathy. They are left-hand path only. They are insectoid mentality. They are like bugs. They have a computer brain. There is a right-hand path, which is empathy and creativity and imagination and, most importantly, love. But this is your world shown to you. You are in this crowd, watching the four corners of the earth at war with one another, as we war against each other. Even they try to recruit you. If you are a truth seeker, they will try to get you to argue, to defend your position. You have no need. I'm giving you permission to let that go. Because sometimes you need to hear someone say it. The main character, who to me looks like Gilligan from Gilligan's Island, is holding a magic rock. This technology that the aliens had left far in the past, and the government got a hold of it. And with this magic rock, he can basically will things into existence. So these people are looking for him. Why? Because he's stolen all of the classified documents, all of the videos that show what the governments are really up to. If there is a such thing as remote viewing, if there is a such thing as clairvoyancy, if there is a such thing as psychic abilities, I have some of that. You out there, some of you have some of that. And regardless of how strong you believe that force is with you or how weak, it will only be amplified in time. There will come a time when your powers, which are latent within you now, will be magnificent, will be truly powerful. Some of you do not need disclosure. Some of you do not need to have some news anchor get onto the television and tell you what you already sense, what you already feel. And if you feelers out there, if you sensors out there could only come together, because you're picking up on these visions and these feelings in part. If you could only come together and put those pieces of that puzzle together, collectively, you will see the bigger picture, because all of the pieces are there for you. Anyways, so they're trying to stop this guy, and the only thing that he can use to get away, he's trying to take all the files and stuff and give them to the news, local news. So he gets on the phone to his helper. He's got some unknown person who's going to help him out, and he's on the phone with him, and he's getting advice. Now look what the helper is doing. He's walking around, and he's got people in the background who look like they're putting together a set, as if he works for Hollywood, as if he's in Hollywood right now putting together an actual set for some kind of television show. Setting the stage. They're literally setting the stage. Now, I'm going to share something with you that is a tough pill for some of you to swallow. You have been conditioned to hate the Illuminati. Just to name a popular name. But there are two Illuminatis. There are two groups. One group seeks to force you to think. One group seeks to tell you what to think and to teach you and to enlighten you and to make you know things and make you believe things and to change your perspective, to change your beliefs and shape the world in doing so. The other group only is there if you ask. The other group only offers you the truth in symbolism and stories and metaphors and similes, because those are designed for the real truth seeker out there, the story forms. Everyone else will just be simply entertained, thinking that they're just watching a movie. It's just a movie. It's just a story. It's just a book. But not to you. Not to me. It's not just a story. The minimizers of this world, the dismissers of this world, are those who resonate with the time we live in now. This is why you get lost in these books and in these movies and in these stories, because they're the truth. They contain the truth. Oftentimes they contain more truth than your local news when you turn it on to get current events. You must be discerning. Some of them are in the system itself, trying to help you. But you're so quick to judge and to look for someone to blame that you will blame even the people who are offering their hand to you to try to help you. And then, of course, there are the ones who want to control you. So now, the helper in the movie, the one who is an insider, who is trying to help, who is clearly on a Hollywood set that they're putting together. Now, that's not what it is in the movie. Okay, they are putting together a sort of set, but it's not like Hollywood in the movie. But it doesn't matter. All of these scenes in the movies are like individual hieroglyphics. And you can understand the message that's being shared with you in those hieroglyphics by putting them together and building contexts outside of what they're showing you in the surface level of the story of the movie. Then we go to the bad guys. Now, the bad guys have all of these television sets, okay? So the bad guys are behind the scenes controlling all of the news, all of the media, all of the outlets. And they're looking for this guy who has all of the information about aliens, all of the true information about reality. And they started to realize many people of high rank, many people of high access, I guess I'll say, to knowledge, prominent, knowledgeable people in the world have gone missing all at once. So they start looking at all the pictures of these different people, prominent people, respectively, within their areas of research, have gone missing, and they are all banding together for one purpose. So they're starting to look for these people because they realize these brilliant minds across the world have some sort of an agenda against the bad guys themselves, which is disclosure. They're trying to help you. This is happening in our world right now. There are prominent members within different fields of research, prominent within their fields, who have gone missing over the years, disappeared. And it's just a story that is swept under the rug. Let's continue on. All right, so these are two of the people. This is the helper guy that looks like he works for Hollywood or someone. And this is the Gilligan-looking guy that is holding all of the information. And also, by the way, you can see the name of the company, the bad guys, right here on the screen. So you see right next to me, it says War Dex. So the word war is against the word Dex, right next to it, or you could say against it. The word Dex is Latin, I believe. It's an older language, and it means right. So war against the right, which is the left. The left battles against the right. okay? Or evil battles against what is right and good. I'm not talking about political left and right, okay? So they choose these names purposefully. They're a part of the bigger picture of the story. This guy needs to tell his girlfriend his big secret, that he knows aliens are real. He knows the true nature of reality. So he tells her that he was in prison. He was a bad guy. He didn't live like, the best life or whatever. He was a hacker. And when he got out of prison, the government used him for that same reason. The same thing that put him into prison. The government immediately picked him up and hired him to work for them. And when he learned about all of this stuff that he would now try to disclose, he couldn't. He has a good heart. Many of you who have a good heart and who are pure and good in the world have been looked at as if you are evil, as if you are wrong, as if you are the bad guys in this world. And you're not. You're just the minority in this world. The majority are sick. The majority of the people on earth today are sick. They are sick in every way that you can be sick. Those of us with good, pure hearts make them jealous. They hate us, even if they don't realize that they do. And they can sense you like a dog senses fear, and they get into survival mode. They're terrified of you, and that is why they hate you. Let's continue on. So he's trying to tell her that he knows all of this stuff about aliens and, that there's more to this world than what we thought. Then we cut to this news anchor, this weather lady, and she's on your local weather, your morning talk show, your morning news or whatever. This is very much like the movie that we decoded called Don't Look Up. And the way they show you these morning talk shows and news programs should wake you up. You should see clowns. You should see talking heads. You should see puppets. You should see soulless avatars. Not to judge the people themselves, but this is what they are. Okay? This is what is happening. This is bread and circuses. This is a facade. These are fake smiles. These are people who are not investigators, not reporters, not researchers. They are storytellers, painting you the story of your own reality, telling you what is important with cat videos, and scaring you with wars and rumors of wars. And they do it with a big goofy grin on their face every single morning, so that you don't panic, so that you don't research, so that you don't snap out of it. They sing you a lullaby. They sing you to sleep the moment you wake up. So she's the weather woman, and she starts telling you about how there's going to be hail, and all this hail starts to fall in the background, and she's acting kind of goofy herself. And all this hail starts to fall. It's actually cereal in the foreground that's falling. Then they give you a close-up of that same woman getting ready behind the scenes, putting on her makeup, and it's the one eye symbolism. But look closer, because there is a circle and then there is an eye in the middle. And when we zoom out, we can see her mirror itself mirrors that image. It is a circle within a circle. This is the image that you will see in the sky. There will be something that the whole world can see, and the whole world will focus on, and people will take pictures of, and it will be on the internet, and it is an object that is up there above your head, and it will light up and people will see it. Now, what will that object be? Your minds are being conditioned right now, as I have mentioned before. Your imagination, you have been raped of your own imagination. Your own imagination, your own creative ability has been hijacked, and you do not think for yourself. What you will see in the sky will depend upon what you create with your mind, how you interpret it. If you are unaware, if you are ignorant, if you have no idea what that could possibly be, then you will default to what you have been told that it is, which is a mothership, which is a circle within a circle at the center of the world, at the top of the world, over the North Pole, in the north. And this movie will tell you that too, if you pay attention. Now, if you look at her walls, you can see that there are butterflies. And there's little, looks like tree branches and stuff, right? Let's take a good look at this. The reason that there are butterflies is to let you know that great change is on the way. This wall is the wall of your world. These branches are cracks in that dome. These branches are cracks in the firmament above us. Great change is on the way. The firmament will not stay solid forever. Our world is a closed system that is constantly filling with new gas and becomes more and more pressurized as time goes forward, which necessitates a pressure release. The dome will break open. I am letting you know right now, your sky will explode. The heavens will crack apart. Which is, the entire reason why we have a rip in the sky already, a big dark rift called the Milky Way. This has happened before, and that is how I know it is going to happen again, even if I didn't pick up on all of the obvious clues from the people who are in control of this world. These branches are also plasmas that you will see scattering out like lightning, shooting out like electrical branches in the sky, in the heavens. You will see that. Your sky will turn red, a pink color, just like this. You will no longer live under a blue sky, but a red one. As our world transitions into what may seem more like a Martian atmosphere in some places, or a tropical world in others. Also, that dome above us is reflective, so when you shine lights up at it, as with the geoplasmas that will erupt from the earth, it will reflect the world below it. So you will be able to look up to see down, exactly as was shown to you in Three Body Problem on Netflix. Now, this is the woman and her boyfriend having a talk. They purposefully put this tattoo on his shoulder or on his arm. It's supposed to be like a record or something like that. It's like a record with flames coming off of it. But he was positioned his arm just like that purposefully to show you this tattoo. This is subliminal imagery, or some of you call this type of blatant symbolism that's obvious and ahead of time. Like foreshadowing, I guess, is one way, but predictive programming is a trendy way to talk about foreshadowing. This symbol is the doom shape that was talked about in the Colburn Bible. This is the mothership image. This is that apex dome in the sky itself. So let me explain this and I'll be brief. Although there is a dome above the world, at the top of that dome, it hangs downward like a hump or like a bowl in the sky. And people that look up to it will see an eyeball. You will see a mothership. You will see a UFO. You will interpret that in many different ways, depending upon your very own perception filters. That will be up to you. But there's fire coming off of this because plasmas will erupt from that hole in the sky, just as Shayad talks about in her song, Trampoline. It is in the music industry. It is in the movie industry. It is in the books. It is in your commercials. It is in your very room that you are sitting in now. It is everywhere. It is not that the truth has been hidden. It is that you have been blinded. Your perceptions have been skewed purposefully by others and accidentally by your very selves, by your ancestors over time, who grew careless over time. And it developed worse and worse and worse. Now the woman sees this bird land on the table. This is a cardinal. This is not a bird. I said that on purpose so that you would think for a moment. Some of you need to snap out of it. Some of you need riddles to jog your mind. Some of you need something that just doesn't make sense to shake you out of it and wake you up. You need this so that you can learn to do it over and over again until you are lucid, until you are living a lucid dream. This is not a bird. This is a cardinal. It is a symbol. This is obviously not a bird because it's obviously CGI. We live during a time when they could have made a realistic looking bird. They chose not to. This is Steven Spielberg that made this movie. Do you think that he has access to, special effects departments that can make a convincing animal on screen? Yes. This is not a bird. Some of you, as simple as that sounds, some of you need to hear that. Okay? Why is this not a bird? Because the cardinal is symbolic. It represents something. The moment it flies in and lands in front of her, she stands up. Wind rushes towards her, and she has an epiphany. She stares at this bird. She's being given a message as she stands right next to a poster that symbolizes the tree of life and a clock that symbolizes time. And her boyfriend, clueless, is trying to just shoo the bird away. He does not receive the message. He cannot see the code. He cannot decode what the bird is. He sees a bird. She does not. Neither do I, neither will you. This is a cardinal, as I have said. What does cardinal mean? Look up the word cardinal. It implies the chief or pivotal. Pivotal, central. To pivot upon something. It says here, that on which something turns or depends. And it goes on to say, if I remove myself so you can see the rest, pole of the sky. Pole of the sky. That on which something turns. This harkens back to an ancient concept called the axis mundi. The center of the world, the geographic, physical, actual center of a world that is not a ball. It is not a sphere. It is not wobbling around and spiraling around and chasing after a giant gas ball planet through uncharted, unknown space, through a huge vacuum. The world has a center to it. And if you have an object of light, a pole, a pillar of light shooting up from the center of it, which happens every other cycle, that light will be seen by everyone in the world because of the shape of the world and the true nature of this world. The world itself has been folded and wrapped around itself as your minds have been folded and wrapped around themselves. And the true nature of reality has been distorted. The pole of the sky, the cardinal, is what that means. We go on to read the root word of cardinal, which is the word card. Cardon means of thee, or cardine means of thee. Card. Al just means God. A-L or E-L, that means God. I'm just going to get right to it. You can look it up if you want to, okay? The E-L means God. The I-N or the O-N in cardinal means of thee or of. What does card mean? It means paper or a charter. We look it up, it says a charter. Paper is a charter. Well, what is a charter? It says here, a layer of papyrus is what a card is, okay? It means paper. So when you play with cards, you're playing with paper. That's all it means. But the word card itself comes from the word charter. Carter. Charter. John Carter of Mars. Does that, ring a bell? What does chart mean? So, cardinal, card, chart. Chart is a map for the use of navigators. So the cardinal represents a map, simply put. Not just any map, cardon or cardine, which means of the map, and then L, God. The map of God, or the map to God, or the map that leads you to God, or the map to the house of God. This is the map. This is the North Pole. This is an island, a continent, massive, that was seen and known about for thousands of years until recently, when it was erased, when it was hidden, when it became invisible to those who can no longer see because you have become blind. There is this land at the North Pole. It is the Garden of Eden that is split by 4 different rivers, as is described in the book of Genesis. It is Avalon. It is the home of King Arthur and his knights of the Round Table. It is Atlantis with ancient technology, or Antiquitech, that sank beneath the ocean waves, and this land will rise again. Mark my words, this land will rise again. It will be seen, it will be on the news, and the countries around the world are going to flock to this land. This land and this shape, the circle within the circle, is seen in that hanging bowl in the sky, a part of the dome itself, fixed to the dome itself. It is reflective, and it will reflect this exact shape when people look up, and they will see this shape up there in the sky. Remember that. Immediately after coming in contact with the cardinal, with the map of God, she puts her hand over one eye, and she does the one eye symbolism. The one eye in the sky will reflect this land. It will reflect this map. It will show you that image. You will see it again. It is the doom shape as it appears up in the heavens, up in the sky. Now, she starts speaking in Russian, or her boyfriend asks, is that Polish? Is that Russian? What's going on? She's not Russian. She doesn't normally speak that. She speaks English, and that's it. She doesn't realize she's speaking another language. The wind was just blowing on her face when she was speaking with this cardinal. This harkens to the biblical story of Pentecost and the Spirit of God rushing across the land, and each man hearing each other in his own language. This is only possible either through technology or telepathy. When you live in a world where the atmosphere is energetically amplified, which will happen when the inner earth depressurizes, releases all of its gas, a fresh supply of oxygen, and those gases ionize and electrify our atmosphere up here on the surface world, it will resonate with your very electrical field of your body and your mind. And many of you will have telepathy. You will be able to hear other people and understand them. Doesn't mean you're going to instantly know how to speak other languages, but you will understand everything that other people are saying. It is telepathy. And it is because of this rushing wind of energy that will flood from the center of the world outwards, or from the North Pole outwards to the Southlands. Now, he asks, is that Russian or Polish? Interesting that he would choose those two languages. Rosh means head or top, as in the top of the world. Pole land is the land where the pole was seen. This pole, this pillar of light, geoplasmas that shoot up from volcanoes and cave systems that rush up as poles and pillars of light, sky beams, blue beams of light, because it's ionized oxygen with some nitrogen mixed in. And when you ionize those gases, they turn blue. People will see blue beams of light that will rise up into the heavens and spread their wings like birds of creation, or like gigantic, titanic, angelic figures. This is Project Blue Beam. It is project a blue beam. Blue beams will be projected, not project as in some government project, as if humans are in charge of this. Some people know that this is going to happen, and some people have heard about it, but they didn't quite understand what the reality was. There will come a time when people will see an object in the sky and many points of light in the form of balls of plasma and ball lightning that are going to settle over places of power as they follow the energetic currents and the ley lines of the earth, finally staying in one place, attracted to particular land masses. And those will be your capital cities. And people will look up and they will say, we're being invaded, because you have been told to think that we are being invaded. People will see blue beams of light, and they will see their saviors. They will see their gods. They will see their angels. They will make up stories. They will not know what those blue beams of light are, because you're not taught plasma physics in elementary or high school. You're taught basic reading, basic comprehension, basic math, so that you can be a slave and work all day long, grinding your fingers to the bone until you're exhausted. And you can be thankful for that because you make money. That's all you're taught. We are ignorant collectively. They have kept that power from you, and that power is knowledge. Now, the woman is starting to have psychic visions, like I talked about. Okay, she can speak Russian and Polish and stuff. She looks in the mirror, in the car mirror, and she sees the police. Now, the mirror in movies is symbolic of the dome above us because, like I said, it is reflective. You cannot see that dome right now because no light is shining back up at it. You can get glimpses of it under the right conditions, like whenever there's a lot of ice crystals in the atmosphere and light passes through it, and then you will see glimpses of the dome above you in the form of sun halos and sundogs and things of that nature. But this mirror always is symbolic of that upper world, that upper boundary, the dome. And there are police in the mirror. There are beings outside of our dome. There are worlds upon worlds, other earths, as I like to call them, outside of this earth. They have domes too. When their domes crack open, if they have sufficient technology, they may leave their world behind and go settle other worlds. This is an age-old story of the fallen angels that come down from above and break the rules and mate with people and change history and shape that world that they have landed in with their advanced technology in a world that has been demolished by an apocalyptic event. There are those out there within the fractal verse, within the cosmos, that believe that that is wrong. And they are typically shown as a form of space police. They're the ones that will chase after these fallen angels, come into this world, look for them, and try to hold them accountable, according to many ancient religions and stories and myths and creation epics, etc. Now, when she's pulled over by the police officer, she's worried at first, but then her psychic ability kicks in, and she starts telling him things about himself that are like extremely personal, and it just touches him. And she's like, I gotta go. Okay, I'm gonna leave now. And he's so mind boggled that he forgets that he was gonna give her a ticket or anything, and she leaves him behind. She has psychic abilities. This world is trying to show you that psychic abilities are bogus, that they're 100% full of frauds, that they're not real. I will tell you this, because the majority of the energy signature in this world is fraudulent. It is evil. It is there to mock, to ridicule, to take advantage of you. Most of this is fake. But that does not mean that all of it is. Most of that is fake. That does not mean all of it is. People out there, there are a handful of people out there that are genuinely psychic. Most of you are mildly psychic and you don't even know it. You've just been conditioned to dismiss it and to think of it as coincidence or fleeting or some passing weird feeling. Many of you have psychic abilities. They're just latent, like I said earlier. But there are frauds out there. There are people that pretend to know more, to have access to information, because the truth seeker in you is going to pay for that information. And so they're going to take advantage of you. But there are people out there that don't want to take advantage of you. They exchange value for value. They're there spreading the good seed of their crop so that you can take it and go plant it and live off of that. Now, she's experiencing all these psychic visions. She goes to work. She's about to give the weather report, and she starts telling everybody personal things about themselves that she has no business knowing. She's trying to help people using that psychic ability. And it's not like she has like some divine purpose, like I've got to help everyone. It comes naturally when you have that gift. It's a natural part of it. For some of us at the very least. So she sits down. This Korean guy is having some communication problems. She understands him perfectly. She starts speaking to him in Korean. This is your day of Pentecost. Okay? And the day of Pentecost, the day when the Holy Spirit floods through the world and each person can hear everyone speaking in their own language, this is an apocalyptic event. It is beautiful for many of you who will survive. In comparison to the world's population, I should say, honestly, some of you who will survive. It will be a beautiful experience. You will feel better than you have ever felt in your entire life, should you survive. So she gets onto the television. Puts on that big fake smile. She's going through the motions right now. She's getting ready to tell the world about the weather, to talk about the weather. I don't want to talk about the weather. I'm sick of the weather. Unless the weather acts up and is abnormal and is extreme, I don't care what the weather is. I want to talk about weather that is an anomaly, an omen. I want to see tornadoes. I want to see the world go past the tipping point of extremes. Why? Because the world's a messed up place. And it needs to get past that tipping point. It needs to get worse before it can get better. I know some of you are altruistic. I can sense you already. I can feel you already. Every time I say things like this, I can sense you. You know, your inner hippie starts to bloom its flower of love. And I have my own inner hippie too, so I vibe with that. I love that about you, actually. But you're one-sided. You're just as one-sided as the other side. We need balance. Okay? The world will be righted spiritually. It will be righted energetically, but it needs to come to a crashing stop first. That is the natural cycle of things. So she gets on, puts on that big smile, and they say, okay, 3, 2, 1, go. And she starts, she freezes up. She starts making these weird clicking sounds, like she's having a seizure or something. She's staring off into space. There's something terribly wrong. It's like she's possessed. Something starts making noises out of her, which is another language. It's this alien language, which we'll come back to. Everyone is starting to freak out. They can't believe this is happening on live TV. This is an omen in the movie of this disclosure, this huge event that is on the horizon. The newscaster on live TV steps out of character. It's like something seizes her and she faints and she falls down and she passes out. This very thing happened and has been happening. If you wake up and pay attention, if you look at these different events, this is an example of a woman, a news anchor or a reporter who is live on TV and suddenly, for no reason whatsoever, just passed out. And the people didn't know what to do. This guy, if he did have an empathetic grain in his body, would not be sitting there looking at her on the ground. He would have immediately jumped down. That's how you can tell the energy of many of these people. This woman was doing a live broadcast about the ski resort, and she just passed out. Live TV. This woman right here, many of you remember her, where they cut to her and she could not speak English. She was speaking some weird gibberish language. She couldn't get the words out. And people out there that are not truth seekers, they try to give you excuses for what this is. Oh, well, it's this condition, it's this, it's that. But it's happening time and time and time and time again. What we're seeing in the movies and the story that we're being told is a reflection of real life. This woman right here, she said that she started feeling faint. She couldn't speak. Wendy Williams is another popular example. I'm sure many of you watched as Wendy Williams was started to kind of stutter, and then she just grabbed her head and then she just dropped straight down to the floor on TV. This has happened countless times, and this is just a handful of examples that I have found. A funny example comes from this movie whenever God had given, his power to Jim Carrey, and he goes directly to the news anchor, this guy, and he starts manipulating him. He goes like that, and the guy's he starts talking real high-pitched voice, which is funny, but that's God doing it. This guy has the power of God in the movie, which means it is a naturally occurring event. It is what people would call God, or see or perceive as God, or as some powerful entity beyond themselves, beyond just any one human or group of humans. And he starts playing with the teleprompter, and this guy starts speaking gibberish, exactly as happens in real life. He even changes the words that are on the teleprompter. Now we get back to the movie. The bad guys are checking out the news girl because now she's on the radar, and they realize, oh, this girl is connected. She's being given a message. This is from the aliens, basically. Okay? She's being given a message from the aliens, and they're checking it out. They have their finger on the pulse of all of you. Okay? Through technology, through all of their data centers and stuff. They used to have these data centers underground. They had dossiers on all of you in secret underground data centers that now they're just pulling them above ground and telling you it's Facebook, or telling you it's YouTube, or telling you it's X or whatever, and it's AI, and they just really need AI. This used to be underground supercomputers that everyone knew about. It used to be a conspiracy theory. Now it's just common. Now it's just normal to talk about these things. They have all of you. They have your likenesses. They have your names. They have your profile. They have your DNA. And they have underground centers where they will replicate you at the genetic level. This is why your Native American Indians did not, and still to this day, some of the elders will not let you take their picture. They don't want you to steal their soul. They don't want you to steal their essence. Where does that come from? That taking a picture, just getting someone's image, you can bring it to life somehow, and you could be stolen. Your information, your genetic code, your mannerisms, the sound of your voice can be copied, can be taken away. You can be replaced. And they have the means to do that. Now, the main character who has all the information of disclosure, like all the alien videos and stuff, he goes into this house with his girlfriend. The house, they're acting as the truth seekers, by the way. So look at this house that they go into. It's beat up. The walls are falling apart, like all the wallpaper and stuff. It's a broken down house. This is your world. Oftentimes, they will show you your entire world wrapped up inside of one symbolic element in the movies. Oftentimes, it's a house. If the house is pristine and nice and clean, that represents one era that we go through. If the house is broken down and dark and dirty, that represents another era that we go through. When they're in the house, they start walking around, they look outside, and this guy cannot believe what he sees. And at first, you think it's going to be an alien. The movie makes you think it's going to be aliens that you're looking at. But it's deer. They build this up, and then they show you some deer. And the girl even says, what? It's just deer. There's that minimizing of something important again. That when they use the word just, but not as it should be used. When something is just, it's pure and good and righteous and wholesome. They have turned the word just, which is a good word, which is the root of justice, into something that means nothing. It's just, it's basically nothing, is what the word just has become today. But our whole vocabulary is flipped upside down. These deer, they focus on these deer. Why? Because these are not deer. Just as your cardinal, your bird, was not a bird earlier. I'm going to use the same example. Why do these apocalyptic movies keep showing you deer? Why do they keep showing you this? They showed you this in the movie Leave the World Behind. Here's a screenshot from when I decoded that movie. And they made a huge deal about the deer. They put them into the movie poster and everything. What is the deal with the deer? What is the connection to the apocalypse or some big change that will happen in this world? This is a picture of Saint Hubert. He is oftentimes shown in front of a deer that has Jesus in the middle of its horns. And that cross, that crucifix, has light all the way around it. Saint Hubert is a cartoonified representation of a real place and a real event. The reason why they keep showing you these deer, and the reason why there is a deer connection to the creation and destruction of this world as we know it, and it permeates all cultures, many cultures I should say, is because of the antlers of the deer. The antlers are the symbolic element of the deer. It's important to note that they put this shining cross, this pillar, this pole, this beam. In the Bible, the word that is used for cross or crucifix, which is what it has been turned into due to poor translations, originally was the word stauros, which means a pillar, a beam. There is no cross section originally as it was described. Many people believe it was implying a tree. But this is a pillar of light at the center of the world. So what this imagery tells us is there is something on either side of that central pillar of light at the North Pole, coming up out of that central mountain, Rupus Nigra, at the center of that circular island. Outside of that, there's other lights. There are two other lights outside of that. The Bible refers to them as two witnesses. Sometimes they cartoonify these lights. They will personify these lights. They will make the lights into different symbolic animals or people or, one on one side, one on the other side. The centerpiece is the light that comes from Mount Meru at the center of the world. This is the deer of creation. People will look towards the north, and this is what they will see. They will see antlers, pillars, electricity on either side of that central island, and that middle beam shooting up high into the sky. This is an anode and a cathode, as the center of the world acts as a type of galvanic and electrolytic cell, or simply put, a battery that charges this world. Now, this same exact deer, like I said, can be seen, this deer symbolism is seen throughout various cultures. In Norse mythology, the people who come from the north, there is the deer of creation that lives at the base of Yggdrasil, the world tree, which is the Axis Mundi. Its name, I will try to pronounce it, is Iktirnir. Iktirnir, which if you thought this was an L, actually would spell elk, which is interesting. But Iktirnir. Iktirnir. This gigantic deer sits atop of the place where the gods live, or Valhalla. On top of it, branches covering up and over that particular world where the gods live. The gods are immortals. The gods are the people who live for a very, very long time. The people that live at the center of the world, the navel of the world, the heart of the world, because it's so energetically amplified, it stimulates their elastin and their collagen in their skin, keeping them young for what appears to be forever compared to those who live outside of it. That's where this celestial cosmic deer lives of Norse mythology. It eats from the tree of life, or Yggdrasil. It drops dew from its antlers back down into the pool that it stands in. And it acts as a self-perpetuating cycle where the dew comes down off of the antlers, goes down into the lake, which feeds the tree of life, which the deer eats again, which drops down the dew. This is the mountain dew of the great holy mountain at the center of the world. This is the manna of the book of the Torah. It's the heavenly manna. And it is created through electricity passing through the atmosphere itself over the Garden of Eden, which is releasing a massive amount of pollen up into the atmosphere. That pollen mixes with the dew or the mist that is created over and around that particular region. And it creates this goo. And that goo will harden and dry out into flakes that you can eat and you can live off of. It's basically a form of honey that's naturally created. Now, the name of this creature, if we look at Ik, which is the first part of its name, it means oak, which is where the word oak comes from, or the tree, simply put. I also believe this is where the YGG in the word Yggdrasil or Yggdrasil, where that comes from. It means the tree. It means oak. People from the north who came to America, they just called all trees oak trees because that's what it meant. But Ik means the tree. Iktir means the tree of God or the God tree, the divine being. And then Nir. Nir can imply things like the void beneath, the God tree that grows from the void beneath or the bottomless pit, which is a hole in the earth that goes all the way down from the opening, which is Mount Meru itself, all the way down into the hollow recesses of our world. Here's another Mesoamerican, Native American depiction of that same deer. You can see it's not hard once you compare it to the map where it comes from. Many Native Americans use this exact same symbol. Sometimes it's known as a healing will, or a healing well, or a wishing well, or a medicine wheel. Here's another deer of creation in Mesoamerican mythology sitting right next to Tlaloc. Tlaloc was this blue god, and he was right there at the beginning with Tlaloc. Who is Tlaloc? Some people will demonize this because it's not their personal god or the one that they believe in. But it says here that he was a deity of earthly fertility and water and worshipped as a giver of life and sustenance. Tlaloc represents a blue beam of light that comes out of the center of the world. His power over hail, remember we saw hail earlier? Thunder, lightning, and rain. He's also associated with caves, springs, and mountains. Most specifically, the sacred mountain, where he was believed to reside inside of. That is the mountain at the center of the world. This one. Right there in the middle, Rupus nigra, and a beam of blue ionized oxygen will shoot up out of that, giving us a fresh supply in a time when we're basically suffocating. Now, we go back to the movie. He's showing his girlfriend all this classified footage of actual aliens by the government. One of the first things he shows them is Richard Nixon. So they got Richard Nixon walking up to some celebrity, and then they show them the aliens, and they pull out the dead aliens from what I'm assuming is Roswell. So they show you these little alien bodies and stuff. Now let me tell you, okay, about aliens. Allow me to give you disclosure. There are other beings in other worlds, as I said before. But the aliens, our world is upside down right now, okay? Up is down, left is right, black is white, good is bad, bad is good. So it should come as no surprise that the actual aliens that most of you are familiar with do not come from the sky. They come from underground. Okay? These are ant people. Look at it. These are ant people, just as was described by the Hopi tribe here in the United States. There are alien civilizations underground. They're human. I will also share that with you. or humanoid, I should say. But the only difference between you and them is adaptation and mutations. That is the only difference. They will look different, they have adapted differently, and many of them have become mutated to extreme degrees because they live so close in proximity to radiation that is created by the earth itself. And they're mutated in different ways too. There's different tribes and different communities, and they will come up out of the ground one day, and you know them affectionately. Some of you, Christians and people in religious circles, you know them as Gog and Magog. These are the aliens that will come up out of the ground, and there will be a war against them because you're already being trained to think that they are all evil and bad and here to kill you. I'm not telling you that they are good either, but I am telling you that there is an agenda out there to shoot the aliens when they arrive. You are being conditioned to see this and to think this. So he puts on these videos for her to watch. He backs off. She's watching this alien get dissected by the government. You can see right behind me here. So there's like an alien dissection video. And the alien is not even, it's like, it's awake in this video. So it's like screaming in terror. It's basically torture. Like if this is a humanoid and not just like I mean, even if it was an animal, it'd still be messed up. You know, if that was a dog and it was wide awake and they were just cutting parts off and stuff, that'd be really messed up. So she watches as they're just torturing this alien. And the bad guy has that special magic rock thing, the technology that the aliens left behind, and he uses it to astrally project himself, to mentally find the boy in the picture in front of him. He's looking for this kid. So he's going to use this technology. Remember, I said there's two ways you can do this: through technology or through nature, which is electrical amplification of your mind that happens naturally. Your synapses firing off, your aura, your very spirit extending out far beyond your normal field that goes around your body. There's two different ways you can do this. He's going the path of technology. He represents the bad Illuminati. He represents the evil people of this world that thrive upon technology, that love technology, that have power because of technology. But when the people don't need that technology, when the middleman is cut out by nature itself, the people get their power back. And that's what these people fear. And that's why they love their technology. That's why they keep their technology a secret. That's why they keep it for themselves and they don't allow you to use it without proper approval. Now, he tells his girlfriend, I'm going to disclose this to everyone. She says, what are you going to do with this information? What are you going to do with these videos? He says, this is the truth. The people have a right to know the truth. I'm going to tell everyone. This is the battle for disclosure. And many of you want, you feel this, you want disclosure. You just want the truth. You don't care what truth it is. You just want the truth to be known, and you want everyone to know the truth. I hate to break the news to you, but that is the same mentality as the very people that you are fighting. They just insist that you know the truth. They're going to give it to you. The real good guys of this world do not insist that you know the truth. They insist that you live your life however you see fit. And they will be here for you in a time of need. You knock, they will open their door every time. But they do not go around knocking on your door and insisting you wake up. You come to the knowledge of their beliefs. You see things the way they see things. That is not the path of a truth seeker. So the battle for disclosure, there are many people that insist. Now there's a difference if you personally do want to know. Well, guess what? You can know. But if you're one of those people that's waiting for someone else to fill in the blanks for you or to tell you all of the secrets of the universe, what's the point if you're never going to grow from there? You'll just get it and you'll be stuck. You'll be in the same place. The truth should be given to you in part, like watering a plant. You just give it a little bit at a time so that you can grow, so that you can blossom, so that you can go produce fruit. I understand that you have a thirst and a hunger for knowledge and for deeper meaning in this world, but it's out there for you to go get. The truth is not served in a Happy Meal. It's not fast food. It requires work. You're the farmer. You're the truth seeker. You need to get out there, put one foot in front of another, and find the truth. And when you do that, and if you do that, I promise you it's going to land right in your lap. Time and time again. As much as you can handle. So the girlfriend she's starting to have, questioning her faith, basically. Is this going to destroy religion? Is this going to destroy faiths and stuff like that? That's something that the movie really hits home on. Will disclosure of the actual truth destroy the concept of religion? Yes, it will. It will. It should, actually. I'll be so bold as to tell you, it should destroy religion. The truth should eradicate the structure of religion. It should amplify the basis of all of those religions. It should amplify the core of all of those religions. So, for example, truth, love, integrity, honesty, all of the core values that all of these religions rest upon as pillars of their faith. The real disclosure and real truth should amplify those, making people more confident and bold and happier and more peaceful and more loving. It should destroy anything else, because anything else that can be destroyed should be, so that the only thing left over is the purity of the sustenance that created it in the first place, which is just goodness, simply put. So Steven Spielberg, here's Kirk Cameron over on the left, notable Christian actor. He was pretty good in the Left Behind movies. And there's this huge separation in all of your little communities right now, in your faiths, in your politics, in all of this, especially in your religious beliefs. You're allowed your religious beliefs. You can have your religious beliefs. But if your religious beliefs take you away from those core precepts and you do not walk in them, you do not embody them, then you are only a religious person, not spiritual or spirit-filled, I should say, because that's what it means to be a spirit-filled person. Religions are just beliefs, just perspectives and how you see the story being painted. They want you to be divided amongst yourself. Take Christianity, since I have Kirk Cameron up here. Take Christianity. There should only be one religion of Christianity. That's it. I don't care what name you want to give it. You can call it Catholicism, Protestantism, Lutheranism, Seventh-day Adventist. I don't care what you call it. There should only be one, because there is only one. There's only one creator. There is only one truth. But you are all divided, thinking that you are all Christians when you are not. You are thousands and thousands of completely different belief systems when you get into the specifics and the semantics behind what you actually believe and agree on. And you war with one another, and you hate one another, and you become the very devils that you think are on the other side. And I caution you, be careful that you are not tempted by the wiles of said devils, because they are crafty and they are clever, and they will feed upon your pride to be right. This is the poster from Disclosure Day. It uses the eye of providence, which is the all-seeing eye, as being the center of the mothership. What you are looking at is the dome above you, the portion of it that hangs down as a bowl in the sky fixed to that greater dome. I call it the apex dome. Disclosure day. The eye in the sky. The day when the eye in the sky will be revealed. You will see it. People in times past have seen it across history. It's just that not everyone knew what it was, but it's been painted many different times. Look in the middle of that eye. Remember I said that that dome above us is reflective and it will reflect what is below it. What do you see in the reflection of that eye in the sky? The deer of creation. Anode and cathode beams of light that all erupt before that final largest light of the world erupts. The caverns of the earth are filling with fluid. When you fill up cavernous systems with fluid, the biggest cavernous system will have water pour out or fluid pour out last. All the little tiny cavernous systems will see that fluid come out first. All of the cave systems of the world, which are all connected, by the way, like veins in a body, which is why an earthquake over here produces an earthquake over here, and vice versa. What was I saying? Yes, so you're seeing the anode and the cathode. You're not seeing that central pillar yet, because this is still the season of Satan. When you see that central pillar, that central beam coming out, that is a different era that you have now gone into. The very last part of the world we live in, and this epic and this age that we live in, you will see the rise of these lights that I am telling you about, these geoplasmas that will erupt from the earth. People will see them, but they will not see the very last one, because when that last one comes up, it will be the apocalypse, and it will be the end of this time as we know it, and the beginning of another time. So you see the anode, the cathode, the two witnesses that hearken the coming of the light of the world, the center one. And all those lights around the world will illuminate the sky, and people will see the sky for the shape that it truly is. Some people will see an eyeball. Many people will see our very land reflected to us, and they will think that there is a planet that looks just like ours that's a little bit too close to us. Some people will think it is Nibiru, and there are aliens up there that can cross over and come down here. It will all depend upon your perception filter. Now, she's very upset. She doesn't want him to give disclosure because she doesn't want her religion to be torn into pieces, because she feels that if she has a religion, it makes her a good person. And that's the problem with organized religion of all types in the time that we live in. Your religion does not make you a good person. Your religion makes your pastors and preachers and evangelists rich and wealthy. Your religion gives you a place where you feel like you belong, because you can spend time with people and get to know people and make little, what do they call it in Fight Club? Little temporary friends or whatever on the airplane. How he's got like a temporary friend or whatever. That's your religion. You can have real friends in real life. You can have family members. You can live your life gloriously in honor of all things that are pure and wholesome and good, outside of insisting that you go to church or go be a part of some building or fellowship or whatever. You don't have to have that to be a good person. I don't want to get too deep into religion and the concepts of heaven and hell and stuff right now, but I'm just telling you, okay? Now, she gets on her phone and she's talking to this guy, the Hollywood behind the scenes guy that's setting up the stage or whatever. And he starts talking to her and he says, you need to destroy your phone. They're tracking you. So she puts her phone under the car and they run it over. And I'm telling you right now, this is a theme throughout many of these apocalyptic movies. One, there will come a point when your phone will stop working, because the electromagnetic fields are going to go into flux and all electronics will not be dependable, especially phones, especially smartphones. But two, they're tracking you, okay? My phone right now is recording this live stream, not because I have told it to, because it is just listening. It's off, or it appears to be off because the screen is black. Okay, if I turn it on, it's still listening. It is actively recording and filing away every single thing I say, the tone of my voice, the inflection. My phone will test me. If it's satisfied and it's getting the gist of who I am and what my routine is, it'll throw me a wrench. It'll upset me in some way, shape, or form so that it can see another side of me, so it can record that side. It'll record that part of me too. And then it'll throw me another wrench in my system. And then it'll get that side of me too. You're being rebuilt in a computer. For what purpose? To repopulate the world, of course, as they try to replace human beings with robots and recreate humanity in their own image. Now, all she says is she's just having these divine revelations. She says, I don't know, we need to go north. We need to go north. That's what she says. We have to go north. Let's just go north, okay? Take note of how many times you hear them say that in the movies. I guarantee you're going to start hearing it an awful lot. We need to head north. We need to go north for safety reasons. Then it starts to hail. The sky starts to fall, symbolically. Okay? The bad guy puts on his little Professor X Cerebro deal, and he starts doing his quantum leap action of astral traveling, and he's looking for the guy's girlfriend. He can't find the guy that looks like Gilligan. He can't find him. So he's looking for the guy's girlfriend. Now this guy, the Hollywood guy, jumps on the phone with the guy who has all the alien information, and he's like, look at this video. We need to find this girl. We need to talk to her because she's speaking an alien language. And he goes, no, she's not. What are you talking about? She's speaking English. She says, don't be afraid of what you don't know. And he's like, what? You understand that? Because remember, she was speaking a bunch of clicks. Okay, that is how electricity sounds. I'm just going to cut right to the chase. Those beams of light, those pillars of light, those alien stick figures that will grow up out of the earth and be seen in the distant sky will make the same alien insect sounding, clicking, staticky noise because it's electricity. Now, not only is it electricity, but because it's such a strong electrical field of cold plasma that rises up out of the earth, like I said, it can pass information along to you. This is known as the Akashic records or Akashic records, however you want to pronounce it. It is the ether itself that can harness and restore information literally on the actual cloud or in the ether that goes not only up in the atmosphere, but through the underworld too. And it can pass information right along to you. You can suddenly just have a download of information from the earth itself. Then he's standing there and this crop circle starts to form all the way around him, which would be his frequency, essentially. If it's coming from him, then it's his frequency that is creating this crop circle. Now, this is just cymatics. This is known in different scientific circles where your frequency or a frequency will create a particular shape. Now, in this case, it happens to create what looks like a sort of an eyeball shape right there in the middle. That's the apex dome. That is why the Illuminati and the Freemasons and all of these entertainers and people who think that they're a part of some secret society, most of them are probably not, right? But there are probably exceptions. That's why they do the all-seeing eye. That's why they put one hand over their eye. Okay, it's because of the apex dome. It is that symbolism. And then it grows outward, and you can see that there is the center of the world map, the 4 lands, divided by the 4 rivers, and that circular lake in the middle. And then outside, this would represent other Earths, other worlds, as I said before. Okay, so if you see this as like a dome over our world, okay, with the Garden of Eden at the middle, then these are other Earths far out there that are connected to ours by plasma conduits or electrical fields that are transferring information from one cellular network or world to another within a larger system or creature or being, you could say. Now, the bad guy is astral traveling, and he's focusing on this girl. And by the way, the government does this. It's recorded. This is not fantastic, but there are known government projects, and Stranger Things is just a fictitious example of those government projects, like what they performed in Montauk, where the government knows that there are powerful people that have spiritual energy that is just pouring out of their eyes, and that gives them abilities, and they seek them out at young ages, and they train them and develop them to be psychic soldiers and to work for the government. So this is not fictitious by any means whatsoever. So the government agent is now focusing so much on her that he starts to go into her mind using this technology. And he starts to just focus on her and see through her eyes to the point where his eye color actually changes. And I have talked about eye color, and eyes changing. Pay attention to the movies. Most people have green eyes. How is that even possible in the movies? Look at, they'll have blue eyes or they'll have green eyes. Most people, as in the movies that I have seen, that is very rare. Okay. Most people do not have this color of eyes. I do. Okay. But I'm, not most people. But your eye color is very telling about who you are related to, and where you come from, which is either inner earth, Southlands up here surviving, or beyond. His eyes turn this greenish blue color. Her eyes just become all black, so it's like they have switched places. He's astral traveling into her mind, which is where the tinfoil hat concept comes from. This is electromagnetism. The world at large wants you to think tinfoil hats are ridiculous and for conspiracy theorists and nut jobs and wackos and weirdos. And I am telling you, if you put metal around your brain, people cannot read your thoughts. Okay? Telepathic people and devices, technology, remember, naturally or through technology, cannot read your thoughts. It will block them off. It doesn't have to be metal. They showed you a form of this in Total Recall when they have Quaid put that wet towel around his head to disrupt the signal or whatever. It's the same concept. This is shown to most of you, and you're trained to think that this is wackos, as the only weirdos would do that. As a matter of fact, most of you weirdos out there don't do this because you're embarrassed because of what it has turned into. Don't be, okay? It's okay. You're being recorded. You think they need that many ice cream trucks and food trucks out there in every neighborhood? Because they're just, it's such a lucrative business. Come on. Anyways, as he's doing this, he had a glass of water, and it drops and it shatters everywhere. Anytime you see glass breaking in the movies, it is almost always symbolic of the dome itself breaking open, the sky itself breaking open, the highest, hardest glass ceiling above us breaking open. And that always ushers in a depressurization, a low pressure system, a world storm as our atmosphere gets sucked out. Now, what he does, she does. He has literally possessed her. He has taken control of her body. Let me say that again. She is possessed by another human being through technological means, not by some evil ghost, but through humanity. Other humans are possessing her, using technology to make her do what she would never normally naturally do. Think about that for just a quick hot minute. It is not mythical religious demons or cartoon devils possessing her. It is human beings through technology taking control of her at the electromagnetic level, using electromagnetism. So she holds on to her cross, okay? That represents her inner blue beam, her inner goodness, her ability to rebel against technology or the influences of technology. She gives it a kiss. She's trying to fight it, but it's very powerful. So using technology, he projects himself into her mind and causes her to see things that are not there. That technology is already here. They're not going to just release that to the public until they have made it available in such a way that you guys think it's just a fun gimmick or something. Okay? But they can project images into your mind. They can make people see things that are not there or believe in things. They can tell you what to think and make you think it's your own thought, which is the whole premise behind the movie Inception. So he's sitting there and he's actually astrally projecting himself using technology. This is the devil's magic. This is not the naturally occurring magic, like psychic abilities and stuff that will happen in the age to come and has already happened in the prior age. This is the devil's magic, is through technology. That's what I'm going to call it. Now, as he is talking to her, he gets progressively more evil looking, as you would expect a possessed person to look. And he's asking where she is. He's trying to find her, right? He's trying to get into her mind. And then he has her look at these knives because he wants her to kill the guy who has all the alien information or disclosure. So he has her look at those knives. Now does a tinfoil hat seem that wacko? You know what I mean? If you're having bad thoughts about like harming people or killing yourself or things like that, go put on a damn tinfoil hat, man. Try that out. Like, what's the worst that could happen? Some people laugh at you and you feel bad. You already feel the worst you can possibly feel. Trust me. Go put that thing on. Wear that for like a week or so. I don't know. But it's infinitely better than letting freaking Star Wars looking bad guys into your minds from other countries and having you MK Ultra'd, you know what I mean? Until you end up a patsy in jail or prison or worse. Now, the guy with the information, Gilligan, he gets a phone call from the news anchor lady because she just knows he's in trouble. Sure enough, these people pull up on the house and he's sneaking around trying to get away from them. He picks up his girlfriend and she's still possessed. So she has that knife as he's driving, but it's really this guy. This is demonic possession. Okay. Frequencies and vibrations that do not align with your own and are so powerful that they overtake your own if yours is weak. If you have a weak spirit, if you have a weak soul, if your body is only 10% spirit and you've got 90% just empty vessel, and someone else comes along with stronger energy, they will overtake you and take control of you and use you and manipulate you and possess you, which means they will own you as property. Like they just bought a new t-shirt or jacket to put on at the store. So in order to snap out of it, she basically gives herself a little stigmata action so that she can like do something extremes, do something wild, do something different and out of the norm to snap out of the instructions that are being given to her from this demonic guy with this technology. Okay. So it hurts him too. She breaks free of it. We go back to the news anchor lady. Her boyfriend and her are at the gas station. Everybody is starting to collect supplies. They're filling up gas containers. They're walking out with massive amounts of water and stuff. In the movie, people are all standing in line. All these people are getting ready for the apocalypse. And they don't even really tell you why. The overlying news story in the background of this movie is that World War III is like basically starting to kick off between the United States and Russia. Okay. And you will see this type of stuff happen. They're going to create all this gossip. They're going to fan the flames and they're going to use that to their own advantage as they start investing now in certain stocks and they start, building their underground bunkers now for when it's chaos up here on the streets and we need martial law, or they say we will need martial law. They're already getting ready. Okay. They can see 10 dominoes down before they've fallen. They're playing chess and you're playing checkers. Now, once again, she says we need to go north. She keeps telling her boyfriend, we got to go north. Head north. The movie is telling you, head north. Okay. When the time comes, when the time is right, when the signal appears, when the sign appears, and there will be a sign, a physical, actual sign, you will see it in the sky. And you will know if you pay attention and you study and you learn when the time will be to head north. That time is not right now, but a time is coming when you will need to head north, or you should. Okay. All right. So she's like, we need to go north. And the boyfriend's like, okay, fine. But then he calls somebody. He thinks that she's mentally insane. He thinks that she just has mental problems. So he calls and tells on her, which is what you are all being conditioned to do right now. You're being conditioned to go tell on other people and have them locked up for their own good, to have them fully medicated for their own good. And that's straight out of George Orwell's 1984. Now, the Hollywood guy is talking to the guy with all the alien information, and he says, are you telling me about a dream you had or a memory? And the guy says, I can't tell the difference. I don't know. I can't tell the difference between a dream and a memory, between what I'm dreaming and what I am actually experiencing. What is the difference? And this reminded me of this quote by Zhuangzi. He says, I dreamed I was a butterfly floating around in the sky, and then I woke up. Now I wonder, am I a man who dreamed of being a butterfly, or am I a butterfly dreaming that I am a man? This is a profound part of the movie, but it's important as a part of disclosure, okay? Because all that we see can be seen as a dream, okay? As physical as everything might seem and feel in this world is just as real as it seems when you are actually dreaming. But that doesn't mean that it is less important or that it has less import. It is still real, because if you are a dream inside of a dream, then everything is real to you. So don't let that get to your head or discourage you thinking that, it's all just a dream anyway, because it's still real. It's a dream and it's real. That's my 2 cents on that. Now, look at the Hollywood actor guy. You still don't know where he is. You don't know why they're putting this set together. There's like clearly people walking around putting this building together and stuff, and you can tell it's not an actual house. He's inside of some kind of a big lot, a big empty lot, and they're walking around with parts of the set. It's giving you strong Hollywood vibes. Okay? They're placing clues into the movies for you to decide one way or the other. Okay? There are both woven into this movie and every movie. And it will depend upon you what you extract from it. You can extract negativity from this movie, that there is no truth and there's nothing to be had from this movie, and it's just all some story and they're just trying to make you believe in aliens and this and that. And you can look at it negatively like that, or you can be glass half full and you can extract the actual truth that are there, because the truth is there and the truth is everywhere. Now, this guy goes around taking anything out of the hotel that has the address on it so that the other guy can't like jump into his girlfriend again and see the address and figure out where they are. This is his hotel key. He is in room number 8. Room number 8. If you have studied my work and followed my channel, you know that the number 8 in antiquity, in ancient languages, especially Phoenician, represents an outdoor boundary. It represents that anode and cathode pillars that shoot up into the sky, acting as the pillars of Hercules. 2 of them together are 88. And you go between those pillars, or those 2 8s, right, which were just word pictures for outdoor fences or boundary markers. But he's also the key master. He's the one that is in charge of the key. And this is the symbolic element. There is this pull, exactly like in Ghostbusters, from a male and a female who hear some kind of a higher calling or purpose, or almost possessed or something, and they have to come together. They have to be united. And when they do, the apocalypse happens. And you'll see that theme in many movies. I'm just putting Ghostbusters up here. This guy is famous for saying that, walking around saying, I am the key master. Are you the gatekeeper? This woman right here is the gatekeeper. those two branches of that deer of creation, those two pillars of light on either side of that central beam at the center of the world. Positive, negative, boy, girl, oftentimes seen as twins and reciprocals of each other. And as a matter of fact, in Ghostbusters, they show you this as they have lightning associated with the Keymaster and the Gatekeeper. One on one side, one on the other side. And then they turn into like dogs or whatever that is. And they're represented by obelisks behind them too. All right, so, she basically just uses her psychic ability to go and rescue that guy because he's been kidnapped. She walks right in there and uses like her Jedi mental powers on the bad guys and has this guy see his like dead wife. So as she's speaking to him, he looks at her and he like forgets who she is and he sees this woman. This is another ability. Remember how at the beginning I said that your powers will only amplify, your powers will only grow whenever the atmosphere becomes electrically amplified once again? This is the type of stuff I'm talking about. Not only can you share memories, but you can just share thoughts. And if your thought is strong enough and you can form it and shape it into a person or an animal or whatever, you can project that thought into what other people see in their mind. And this is a form of like Star Wars Jedi powers. This is real. This can happen. You can have the ability to make other people see things that are not there in the same way that this guy just used technology to do the same thing. You will have the natural ability through the energetic amplification of your very mind, your brain, your synapses, your soul, your energy, to do the same thing, but without technology. This guy walks past and you can see it's actually her. You see? So it's the Jedi mind trick's not really working on this guy back here or whatever. She's just kind of focusing on this main bad guy. And then she does it again to escape. So she turns into an old man, which is like this guy's dead father. So he lets her go. And then she turns into like this young girl and she lets her go. And she's just doing the same Jedi mind trick, which is just telepathy. Okay? It's pretty simple. Now, this guy, Gilligan over here, he starts telling her about when his life changed and he just understood all these mathematical equations and problems and he became a hacker and stuff, which he wasn't all that great at math before, but he had this event. And he says, I saw this bird land in my house. It was a cardinal. Same bird. He saw the same thing. After he saw this bird, which if you remember, card, paper, chart, map. The bird represents a map. It represents the cardinal points, right? The 4 cardinal points, the 4 corners of the earth at the center of the world. That's what that represents. He saw this. So when he saw that map, it opened up all these new avenues of thought. He was able to follow the clues. He was, became a better truth seeker, we'll say. Okay. And that map will help many of you, I feel, if you can understand that there is, a home, a terrestrial paradise on Earth. And if you want more information about that, I'm an author and I've written 2 books. My second book is all about our home. It is all about that central landmass at the middle of the world, what it looks like, smells like, sounds like, how to get there, the dangers in going, everything you could possibly want to know. And that's available on my website. And since I'm plugging things, I'm going to be doing my first meetups. You need to go to JayDreamerZ.com, click on my store, and there are tickets available for sale for a meetup in California, a meetup in Arizona, a meetup in Denver, as well as a couple of special events that are part of my special new series, Chasing the Apocalypse. If you'd like to be a part of that, you can check that out on my website right now. All right, next up. They go inside of this train, and on the walls of the train, there's pianos. Okay. This has reminded me of what a cathedral is like, where they line the walls with pipe organs and music and stuff. But then she starts to say she can't breathe. She's like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And I've heard that phrase like more often than I would expect to hear someone say, I can't breathe. I've heard that a lot in the past 5 years or so, right? And when I hear it in the movies, it is symbolic of a time when people will not be able to breathe and people will panic because the Lord God, the apocalypse, however you want to see this event that takes place and these anomalies that appear suddenly, will physically take your breath away, because it will create a void. It will create a vacuum in this world. Okay, as the sky rips open, the atmosphere will get sucked out, and it will be pulling air out of your lungs. It'll be hard to breathe air in. Okay, so you will need to remain calm, think a happy thought, focus on a song that you like or something, and ground yourself so that you don't hyperventilate and pass out. And this is shown to you in the movies oftentimes. All right, then we go back to the bad guy. He's doing his astral travel trick to surprise the Hollywood good guy who's trying to help people out behind the scenes. He sits down, has a whole conversation with them, and the good guy is talking about, they're having this conversation about like why this truth is important and why knowing about aliens is important. The bad guy, he wants the technology. That's it. The good guy says, no, it's about empathy. These aliens see that we are such amazing creatures because of our ability to empathize, which is that right-hand path that I was telling you about. That's the opposite of the left-hand path of insectoid, computer-like thinking. It is empathy. It is your ability to forgive, to put yourself in someone else's actual body or feet or shoes or however you want to say it. To love, to see somebody else as seeing an extension of yourself. Technology is to divide, but that natural love is empathetic. You can't have war. You can't have anger. You can't have violence. You can't have misunderstandings and stuff when you look at what you would think of as your enemy as yourself. You have pity immediately. You have compassion immediately. You can smile instead of frown. And that's what the good guy is trying to tell the other guy. He's like, you lost your way, man. That's what these creatures are interested in, is learning how we utilize this thing called love and empathy, which, by the way, is a reoccurring theme throughout many movies, if you're paying attention. Now, the girl calls up her religious advisor, and she's like, I'm worried. Won't this destroy my religion? And the religious lady herself, the nun, says, no, it won't. It won't. There can still be a greater creator of all things. There can still be a god or a goddess, or however you want to look at it. Something that has made it all of it. Or, more accurately, something that all of it is made out of, I should say. This Bible verse, first of all, this is from the Sistine Chapel. This is interesting because it's God that looks like he's inside of a brain. Okay? My theory is that we live inside of the mind of God, that we are thoughts inside of a larger entity, just as I have worlds upon worlds inside of my mind that are created by me and my thoughts. And I visit those worlds sometimes in my dreams. But it says here, this is a quote from the Bible, in the beginning, the first verse of the Bible, Elohim created the heaven and the earth. It is local. This story is locally this earth, this world. So some people jump the gun and they start thinking, well, this is the only world then. If there's aliens, then my whole religion and belief system just crumbles to the ground. I understand. I get that. But there is a perspective that you can have where that's not true. Where God, the God of all things, the creator of all things, created many things, and many earths have their own individual storytelling. They have their own individual myths and religions and creation stories and epics, as do we. So, I leave that to you. But the point the woman is making is, if we're not alone, if there's advanced beings that are more advanced out there than us, then we're just not so special. Of course you are. Of course you are special. Of course, those inner Earth aliens are special. Of course, the aliens outside of this dome are special. Every single thing is special because every single thing is made out of an omnipresent being, whose very being comprises all things, acting as the Lego blocks that make up this Lego land of Earth that we live on. And your very skin and your very soul, you are pieces of God, collectively, good, bad, ugly, and otherwise. No, you are not alone. You're never alone. Even when you think you are alone, the walls are watching you. The air can sense you. You are physically connected to all things. It's just that mindset of division. That is the play. That is the curtain. Okay? That is the separator. That is the divider. That is the illusion, is separation. And it's okay. It serves a purpose. It's fun to pretend. It's fun to pretend to be different and separate and stuff. But it's healthy to be balanced, to be neutral, to be in the middle. So the nun just gives her the same type of message, and she says, it's okay. It's not going to break your religion. It's not going to break your faith, I should say, which is her actions based on her beliefs, whether she acts like a good person or not. It doesn't matter if you change the story that you believe in. It will not change you inherently. Now, these firefighters come and they want to check this dude because they're actually not firefighters. They're actors. That should probably click with some of you. The people who respond to a crisis in the movie are actors, not actual crisis responders. They are crisis actors. They put this thing up to their eyes just to check to make sure they're not like possessed by the dream walker. That's the bad guy, who can astrally go into their minds and stuff. After they do that, they take them to this place where they were building the set earlier. And they meet the Hollywood guy. And behind, or let's take a look at this symbol on the fire truck real quick, okay? This is the symbol for putting out a fire or emergency health or emergency safety, etc., right? It's the same exact, it's the map at the center of the world is what you're looking at. Many different organizations will use this, but there it is. It's the four corners of the earth with the central lake, circular lake right there in the middle. The fire department symbol, boom. Same one. Four corners of the earth, the medicine wheel, the healing symbol, etc. The flower of life. Now, she sees that her childhood house, that's her house. Now we know what it is. It's her house from when she was a child, has been built in the middle of this huge warehouse. And she's like, what is going on? Why is my childhood house here? Every single detail is perfect. And she's like, why are you doing this? These are my memories. You stole these memories from me. So this is kind of interesting. Where did they get this information from, right? Remember, I said they're listening to you. They are recording every element of your life. You think the Truman Show was just about Truman? Truman was the quintessential you're Truman, okay? You don't need to live under a big, fake football field type of dome. You live under the dome. Every single one of you are Truman. They are recording, watching, and monitoring every aspect of your life from birth. They are documenting all of it. You're all Truman, and they're watching you. So it's no surprise to me that they know exactly what her childhood house looked like, smelled like, all the details and stuff. And then one lady walks up to her and she just gets on her knees and starts praying to her. And she's like, what are you doing? I don't want to be a god. I don't want this. I don't want you to pray to me. That is what a real truth seeker does, okay? The fake ones love it. They love to be the idols. They love to be worshipped as actual idols, as actual gods, which is a big no-no, okay? They won't tell you, no, get up, get off your knees, don't worship me, that's fine. They'll be like, yes, my child, stay down there, get down on those knees. And they love it. They want to be worshipped. She goes into the house and she sees her old room once again, on the walls, you can see the butterflies. You can see the red light as the walls of the earth, which is what this represents, during a different time, which is her childhood, the sky was red instead of the sky being blue. Change, as the butterflies change. Then the Hollywood guy checks in on her and he's like, listen, something happened to you when you were a child. You and this other guy have blocked it out. We need to use this little alien device to unlock memories. And then this is what he says to her, which, by the way, he is not speaking to her. He is speaking to you. He is speaking to you, whoever you are out there. This message will resonate with you. You have the gift, but no control. No understanding of your purpose, not a clue as to what your situation would demand of you today, or how to use your gift. The only way to acquire it is to acquire that clue and to wake up is to go home, to go back to where it all began. And when you do, you'll know everything, more than what was ever humanly possible when you go back home. When you go back to this place, this is an energetic island. This is a magical island. This is a fantasy island. This is the place where your dreams literally come true. This is the place where your skin, your body is rejuvenated and diseases are eradicated and your synapses are firing off and you're using all of your brain instead of 10 to 20% of your brain. When you go home, you will understand. This is written about in the Bible in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, commonly known as the love chapter. And it talks about how we see now in a mirror dimly. We can see little shadows of things. But whenever the light comes, when the truth comes, when love comes, when the world shifts and changes, and our environment changes, we also will change. You will no longer be tired and out of energy and whatnot, and be ignorant and clueless. You will be spirit-filled. You'll be intelligent. So they see the cardinals again, which was hung over their beds at nighttime. And then they give them this device. Oh, the cardinals, the 4 cardinal points, right? They give them this device so that they can do this little like regressive memory so they can remember what happened to them when they were 10 years old. So they focus, they go back in time, and they remember when they were at home. The little girl, she's on her bed and she looks up and she sees something. And you think it's going to be a freaking alien, right? She goes to the end of her bed and you're like, oh my God, there's an alien in her room. There's an alien. And she looks and she sees a deer. Remember what a deer symbolizes, as I've taught you. It does not represent a deer. That deer is not a deer. There's a reason why they made it look so cheesy and fake and obviously not a deer, CGI looking. Same thing with the fox. That fox is not a fox. Same thing with the raccoon at the bottom. I don't know if you can see the raccoon there, but there's a little tiny raccoon friend, raccoony, right down there at the bottom. Okay? They are not what they seem to be. And the guy in the movie says it. Same thing with the cardinal. That's not a bird. That's a bird that's not a bird. That's a deer that's not a deer, okay? Some of you have the sight to understand this. The guy in the movie says, don't go with them. They're not animals. Now they're trying to make you think, oh, that's because they're aliens. They're shape-shifting aliens and they're just trying to, and they're kind of building up the suspense or whatever. He says they're not animals. And they're not, because here's what they are. The fox comes from, the word fox comes from a word puk or fuk, and it means tail. Okay? Fuk, fuks, fuk, puk, etc. means tail. It is this part of the fox, which is a symbolic element. In antiquity, people saw some sort of object that looks like a fox's tail. It is a comet. It is not just any comet, though. It is a great comet that was seen as a harbinger that would bring on the end of the world. People saw this at the creation event and the destruction event. They saw this, and sometimes they saw more than one. which is why we have this concept of a fox. We want to stick a bunch of tails on it in anime and science fiction and stuff. There's always foxes that have multiple tails for some reason. They don't do that with other creatures. Foxes, though, they do, because the fox's tail looks like a comet, but it's not a comet. These are beams of light. They're terrestrial beams of light that shoot up beyond the horizon into the sky, and people can't, for the life of them, figure out what it is. These are pillars of light that erupt from the north. People will look up north, they will see a dragon with 7 heads. They'll see a fox with 7 tails, or however many. And they'll think, oh, maybe it's a comet and we just can't see the head of the comet because it's beyond the horizon or whatever. This is an actual picture drawn from 1744. When people saw, allegedly, this comet that had all these different tails. They never saw the head of the comet. They saw the tails extending out past the horizon. I guarantee you that's to the north or northeast at the most. That is Hyperborea releasing its light. That is the beast that will rise from the Arctic Ocean as that land returns to us once again. What about the raccoon? That one's easy. You already know what the raccoon represents. It's not a raccoon. It's the thief. The raccoon symbolism is because it is a thief. It is sneaky. It is hiding. It comes, as the Bible says, Jesus, the light of the world, comes as a thief in the night. Not to steal or to kill or to destroy, although that will happen during the apocalypse. But it says here in this quote, "Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watches and keeps his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame." So if you're clothed during the time when the apocalypse happens, then you're going to need to get out of your house. There's going to be earthquakes and stuff all over the place. And the watchers are people who are watching the omens of this world, who can observe the changes that are happening in this world. Behold, I come as a thief. That's the raccoon symbolism. Same thing as the fox symbolism. Same thing as the deer antler symbolism. Same thing as the cardinal symbolism. They're all the same thing. They're all taking you to the same place, just like they're leading this girl to the same place, and that is to the light. That is to this location in the snow, in the cold regions of our world, where there is a house full of light, which is the house where God lives, or a godlike, anomaly, if you want to see it like that. So she's walking up to this house that's full of light, which represents Mount Meru itself, full of light, those geoplasmas that erupt in the cold, past the magical forest, right? And then she's like transported, she's inside of the house, and now they want you to think that she's been abducted by the aliens, okay? And the mothership. She gets onto that mothership, and if that mothership is made of ice up in the sky, it would probably be white, which is why the moon is white, because it's just showing you its own image. And then the deer goes face to face with her. So she's face to face with this particular location / event, which is apocalyptic in nature. The deer's eyes change into this like creepy gray alien head. And now they're kind of transforming the deer into aliens. Now, this is the place where she is now symbolically on Earth, at the middle of the Earth in the North Pole. This is the place where otherworldly beings, when our sky opens, they can descend. Guess where they're going to land? Straight down in the middle at the North Pole. The boy is there. He's going through the exact same thing. He's in this white room. They hold each other's hands, trying to comfort one another. This is the anode and cathode, creating an electrical arc between the two. Okay, those beams of light that shoot up, they will arc over to each other, attracted to one another. Boy and girl, Adam and Eve symbolism, etc. Leaf and Leifthrazir, the boy and girl at the end of the world as well. And then you have like this thing that has all those little alien handheld devices on it in a circle. This just kind of represents the apex dome as it's hovering right over their heads. The creepy alien long fingers or whatever, this is kind of cartoonification in my opinion. Looks more like skeleton hands to me. But they're like, they put it right over their eye. So they show you the one eye symbolism again. It's the magic eye. And they stare up into it, and this is where they get all their powers from. their intuition and everything. And they show you that one eye symbolism and the circle within the circle. Okay. These stones are on fire. I just did a breakdown of the Mandela effect. Sorry, I'm getting a little tired. The Mandela effect, we talked about the origin of the word Bernstein, or glowing rock, or burning stone. These are literally burning stones, Berensteins, which are all types of like Mount Meru symbolism. So they zoom in, you got the obvious one eye symbolism, and then it goes back to her as an adult, and they zoom in on her eyeball. This is the eye of providence, the eye of God. This is that hump that is up in the heavens. And this is why they use the one eye symbolism so much. Okay. It is not your third eye. That is not what this one eye symbolism is all about. Okay. It is not your pineal gland. Does that exist? Yes, of course. But this represents the eye in the sky in a time of magic in our world. That's what that represents when it was everywhere. You will see architecture that also follows suit with that mothership type of a design, with the firmament, the hole in the firmament, this eyeball shape, this tractor beam coming down. And these are all different buildings across the United States, across the world. And oftentimes they'll show you pictures of what it is. They'll show you this is the sky. There's all these depressurization clouds all the way around this hole in the sky. There's people getting sucked up into it sometimes. This is your alien spaceship that people will see in the future, that people have seen in the past. And sometimes they'll show people, as the atmosphere depressurizes, we lose what is perceived as gravity. As buoyancy increases, people get sucked up into that and they float up into it. There are light rays that come up out of that because there's plasmas, cosmic plasmas on the other side of the dome. And they will come into our world. And this will be the sun of antiquity, of a future version of antiquity. This will be a primordial sun. This will be Kronos, Saturn, Jupiter. This will hold a prominent position, unwavering as the true North Star at the apex of the dome. And this is why our architecture follows suit, and why it's designed like that, because these buildings are designed to work with the electromagnetic the amplified electromagnetism in the atmosphere. And so these places are designed to harness energy that is coming up out of the earth itself and then releasing it up at the top. Sometimes they will make the true shape of that apex dome, and it looks much like this. Okay? So that glass ceiling comes down just like this as an eyeball peering into our world. I particularly like this example. And you can see it's kind of tiered. So you can imagine if this is what the top of the sky looks like, right? It's going to reflect at different angles, the things that are below it. So this is why Atlantis looks like it is a ringed country of water and land, and then water and then land, because you have different angles up here of the apex dome itself. Here's another version of the firmament above us with the apex dome and the hole in the sky. Now, the bad guys come in. They're inside of this house, this set that they have built. But she uses her power and makes the whole house disappear and makes them all invisible. This house represents the house of God, the house of light. This is her house, as we just saw. This is the location at the center of the world. All the people in the Southlands, which represents your governments and NPCs and sleepwalkers around the world, cannot perceive that map. They don't see the cardinal. They don't see the deer. They don't see the raccoon. They don't see any of that stuff. They don't see that mythic, legendary land of paradise at the center of the world. It is invisible to them. So this guy has a clue, the leader of the government. He knows there should be something there. So he stops them all. Meanwhile, everyone inside is evacuating. They're all trying to get out. This is in the Bible, that the people of the government, the Southlanders, will surround the camp of the saints, which is represented by this mountain and all these good people inside of it. All right. And it will be destroyed. So anyone that is there is going to try to leave. They're going to try to get out if they know the destruction is coming. And it has to come before it can be remade. Now, they all make their way to the news station. They're going to finally give that disclosure. She walks around, telling everyone, hey, I need the set. She uses her little Jedi powers on everyone and says, I need to give some information. Notice the blue color of light. Strong blue color of light. What is the reason for having that much blue light on everybody? It's because of what is being represented. This is the inner earth energy released. This is the genie inside of the lamp, you could say. The blue color of the genie, right? This is the inner earth spirit memory. I don't know what you the man, I'm getting tired. All right, we're almost done. Anyways, this is the blue beam light, okay, that's reflecting off of everybody. Now, all the news anchors get down. She gets up there ready to give disclosure to everybody. The bad guys are trying to come in through the back, which represents the back door of the world, which represents Mount Meru. But notice the sign that they have here. Just subtly put. Some people will pick up on this. No idling. Engines must be shut off. Idling is just standing still. You live during a time when there is no idling. Okay? Don't stand around. Don't wait for the right moment. Take action. Taking action, making decisions is choosing your own adventure and actually giving meaning and purpose to your life. No idling. Also, no idolizing. So there's a sort of a play on words there. They jump over this sign and they're trying to shut off the energy. Your energy will be shut off around the world, but it won't be a man-made event. It's not going to be hackers hacking into the electrical grid or anything. They will tell you that because they want you to know the truth, which is it is fluctuations in the Earth's electromagnetic field that will turn off all the electricity. The people that make the energy is called Midwest. So this is the energy company. It's called Midwest. West is a euphemism for the North, okay? Going down inside of Mount Meru, where all the energy comes from, that was called the extreme West. West was down in the ancient world, and East was up. So they put all these little bombs on all the generators and stuff like that, and they go around. They want to blow up the energy so that disclosure cannot happen. So you will see all the beams of light, the blue beams. You will see the mothership. You will see little balls of light that most people are going to think are UFOs and stuff like that, or angels or demons or whatever. Okay? Most people won't go, oh, it's a plasma buildup, And before anyone can make sense of it, the energy will go out. The lights will go out. Okay? All the electricity will stop working. And I believe that that's because the governments of your world are going to try to blow up the firmament. They're going to try to blow up the dome, which is shown to you symbolically right here, where they're putting all these little bombs on all the walls of this place. And your governments are going to try to blow up the firmament. It's called Project A119. And if you look it up, you'll read about how they planned on blowing up the moon. By the moon, that's code for the apex dome, which makes the moon, okay? But whenever they do blow up a portion of the firmament, it's not going to last for very long. It will cause a power outage and a low pressure system, and there'll be all kinds of stuff that happens. But the lights will come back on shortly after that, just as they do in the movie. The bad guys drop in through the roof. So after they blow up their explosives, they're like leaving the world behind. Whatever astronauts are going to be up there are going to probably try to escape, I'm guessing. Now, it immediately starts raining after they blow up their bombs. Why? Depressurization. Symbolically, if they just blew up the firmament, they're causing an instant low pressure system. So it's going to start raining and stuff all the way around the world. It'll become a very damp place and a very cold place real quick. And in a world that's quickly heating up, that might be one reason why they're trying to do that. So she gets in front of the cameras. She starts to give disclosure to everyone. She's revealing all of the fact that the government has access to advanced technology and they're not giving it to people, that they're using it against the people, that they're in contact with alien creatures, which is what CERN is. They're trying to talk to the underworld, which is why CERN is underground. Okay? Something like HARP would be used, to try to communicate beyond the dome upwards. But CERN and all that stuff, that's underground, trying to create anomalies in the electromagnetic field that prevents communication to the underworld itself. So she gets up there and she's telling everyone the truth. She says, this is your disclosure day. And then they start sharing these videos that have been kept by the government for so long of little plasmoids flying around in the air and then splitting off into, these are called Foo Fighters, which literally means firefighters, okay, or planes of light. They're just balls of light, okay? Most of these alien videos that are being shown to you by the government now are just lights in the sky. And there's more and more lights that people are seeing because there's more and more pressure building up and more gases that are being released from the earth, and they're ionizing and they're combusting and creating wildfires and stuff. But people are seeing these lights, and the reason they can bank it light speed is because they're light. They're not craft. They're not metallic alien grays flying around freaking, airplanes, advanced airplanes, basically. But then they show you, this part is like real kind of cheesy. I don't know if it was supposed to be like that, but they show you like this UFO coming out of the cloud or whatever, like this black pyramid structure coming out of the cloud. And the planes are all banking, trying to avoid it and stuff. And they're just showing you all this stuff. And people are asking, is it AI? Is this real? And everyone just kind of immediately jumps on board and believes it. This would be like seeing the apex dome right there, that circle in the sky right there. You see a lot of clouds and then ships coming out of the clouds. That's the atmospheric depressurization clouds that are always depicted in ancient depictions of the apex dome itself. And I will show you some of those. But when the sky breaks open, or when a hole opens up in the apex dome off the firmament, immediately it's going to create mist and clouds that will billow out from the center. So, and that's why you have light in the middle of those clouds, because they're literally light on the other side of the firmament, which is how we get the sun, the moon, and the stars and stuff. So they're showing you all of this lost footage or hidden footage that the government have. They're sharing it on every major news network all around the world. If they start to do this, okay, believe me, it is problem, reaction, solution. I'm telling you ahead of time, the people out there that are in charge, at the very tippy top, they understand the end game. They understand what is coming next. They know the true cosmological world that you live in, or the true cosmological view. They know what the structure of the house is, or the container that we live in. They're able to see a bit further down than most people can. They're ready for the lights to fill the world, and it'll be 1,000 points of light. They're ready for people to freak out and think it's aliens. They're ready for actual inner Earth aliens, Gog and Magog, to rise up out of the inner Earth, to make their place and claim land up here on the surface, and they don't want that. So they're ready to go to war with those inner Earth civilizations. So they're just disclosing everything, showing on all the major news networks, and people are just kind of like in shock, all believing what they're told by the news, okay, which is what they do every single day. This will be no different. When they do disclose aliens and all this stuff, and they do tell you what you should believe in, which you've been conditioned to believe in this whole time, most people are going to believe it. Now, it will cause schisms, it will cause factions, it will cause fighting, it will cause all this stuff, but they have prepared for those inevitabilities. And they are ready with their responses to them. So they're showing you all the different alien footage, and then finally they start showing you stuff from like Roswell. So this is Roswell, New Mexico, take 4 or whatever, where the alien crafts landed and stuff. I personally believe these are places of power, inner Earth entrances, like Dulce and Area 51 and all these places. They have naturally occurring cave systems. They just go in and build on top of them, and then they excavate them, and they go down real low. And the further down they go, they might encounter otherworldly creatures that are trapped between the underworld and the surface world. Okay? Those are aliens. Those are otherworldly creatures. And if you read up on places like Dulce, New Mexico, Area 51, you know that that's where you can meet those types of creatures. That's where they have them. That is their meeting place for the inner world beings. All right, so they started zooming in on like crashed objects and stuff. And I do believe that, they probably have some degree of technology, and that's why they're trying to communicate with them, is they're selfish and they want the technology or whatever. And they're just showing you all this different, this is all to me, it looks pretty obvious that it's just movie magic. I don't believe that any of this is actual real footage. There's like a dead alien body and stuff, you know, and everyone's watching this. Okay. So they're going to show you the alien bodies, which is just the ant people. They look just like ant people right there and right there. The underground people. Everyone around the world is plugged into their phone. Everyone around the world is going to believe that this is what happened and this is reality and this is the story. They show them the crashed UFOs, the UFO taking off again and, you know, leaving the world and stuff. All the evidence, all the video evidence of things that they have collected, you know, from across time. Now, they have collections of this stuff, like probably in the Smithsonian or underground supercomputers and stuff like that. It's off limits to all of you. If one of you anomalously happens to catch some weird stuff on video, no one's going to believe you. But if you have a whole compilation of it from across time, across cultures around the world, yeah, then I guess people are more likely to believe you. Okay. This is just a terrible alien. As far as a Steven Spielberg movie goes, this is really bad. This alien right here looks terribly fake. It's really bad. But yeah, I'm sure that there's weird looking humans, okay, that have adapted to no light inside of the earth or whatever. Radiation causes them to lose their hair, all kinds of things. Plus it could be like a biosuit or something. I don't know. Then they show you the aliens walking around, the lights in the sky, the people walking around with the aliens. They're all holding umbrellas, by the way, which is a symbolic element to tell you that that was a different time. Parasols also. All the people are watching TV, and then they just bust out the big tamale, the alien that's like in this little incubator deal. It just happens to be at the news station, which I don't really understand this part, honestly, how they just busted out an alien at the end of the movie. It kind of came out of nowhere, but they open up this little pod and this alien gets out, this huge head. It's like an alien, an elderly person, but an alien. So it's like, it's all wrinkly. It's super old and stuff. And, you know, it kind of acts like a geriatric alien gray. Right. And then it's all looking at him and checking him out and stuff. And it whispers a message into the guy's ear. And then he tells that message to her. And everyone in the world is listening. And everyone is on the edge of their seat to hear this profound message from the aliens. So she gets in front of the camera and she shares the message. And she says, listen. That's it. Listen. Listen. Pay attention. In the movie, it was in French. It was écoutez. Pay attention. Watch. Watching is the same as listening. You are taking in to your body. You're taking into your brain. You're taking into your mind. And when you take in the truth into your mind, if your mind indeed does shape entirely other worlds, if we live inside of the mind of a greater being, then whatever that being thinks about or listens to or watches or consumes or eats or takes into itself will become a part of our reality. And we will start to in turn wake up or be misled, depending upon what happens with that greater being. The same thing happens to us and those worlds upon worlds inside of us. These clues of that apex dome, of that mothership, of that blue beam and that mountain that shoots up from the center of the world, these clues have been given to us from across time. They have been turned into myths, religions, stories, old wives' tales, legends, but they still persist. You can pick up every single one of these puzzle pieces. You can put them together and you can collectively build a bigger picture and a better understanding, the truth of where you are, of who you are, of what the purpose of being here actually is. But first, we need to listen. We need to pay attention. We need to stop taking for granted things that have fallen to us, these puzzle pieces and clues that have fallen to us from antiquity. This is called hidden history for a reason. These are clues and puzzle pieces that have fallen to us from ancient times, from the quote-unquote dark ages, from the legendary times, of the times of heroes, of Greek and Roman mythology. These are not stories, they're truth. No matter how they're painted, it's the truth of our world. It's the truth of our history shared with us. Not just our history, but our present day. It helps to cast light on strange circumstances and weird anomalies and why things are the way that they are. It helps us to see what was once hidden, to understand it better, so that it's not just myth, so that it's not just, like we're children listening to stories. We can start to understand our place in this world and what this world actually is. And that will help us to understand what is coming. That will help us to understand our future and why we are being warned from faces from the past about the dome itself and a hole opening up in our sky and frilly clouds surrounding it. The better we understand the symbols of antiquity, the anode and cathode beams on either side of this circular land at the middle, and this orb that contains all of the stars and the sun and the moon in antiquity, and some tree of life at the middle that comes up out of a mountain at the center of the world, the less we'll start seeing UFOs and spacecraft and alien grays and whatnot. And the more we'll start to understand what are angels, what is a demon, what are the gods of old. Where is this place of creation called the Garden of Eden, which in antiquity showed the sky as being rippled and a big eyeball hanging down at the center of it? And the deer. This is the eyeball of creation and the beam or the light of the world beneath it. It is up here and it is down here. And together it creates iconic symbolism that we will interpret however we will interpret it. So I leave that part up to you. I am JayDreamerZ. I hope that you have learned at least a little bit from today's presentation. And if you feel like someone else might get something of value, please share this video with them too. Until next time, I'm JayDreamerZ saying good vibes and goodbye.